Recording in progress.
Oh, okay.
Oh, that's what, every time I did show up.
There it is. Okay. Am I always going to hear myself? It's yours. Okay. All right.
I
So
know this, that was, sorry.
that's all right. So I kind of like the carrot dogs. What do you think? I mean, they're not like a dog, but they're sort of fun. I can't decide if I like the bread or the relish and mustard the best. But I don't know. I kind of like them.
I think they'd be good just as your girlfriend without they never.
You are right. Yeah, they have a good flavor. I know it's so rare when I'm right. Okay, so welcome. Thanks everybody for coming out on this super hot day. What are you doing to stay cool? Coming here. Cold tea. Oh, hibiscus. I've already had one cup of mine already today. Yes. Okay. What else? Anything? Anything fun? Stay in the house. I've been staying in a little more too. But make sure you're staying hydrated. And then we got 4th of July coming up and it's summer. So we're talking about grilling, but grilling, it's like healthy summer grilling, but also grilling is sort of another way for me to talk more about plant proteins. So that's why today we have a bean salad or caviar salad, which is also a great side for a barbecue. And I did the carrot dogs. And we'll just talk about different things that could be proteins. Okay, let's see. Oh, so I found a study recently. It just got published and it was looking at cardiovascular health and cancer risk and plant-based diets. So in this study, and it was published, I think it was just online. It was published online. And they looked at 48 studies overall. And what they found out in general was that vegetarian and vegan diets improved our heart disease risk, our cancer, and reduced risk of death. And the way it did it was by following a plant-based diet. It lowered our LDL, our bad cholesterol. It lowered our fasting glucose and A1C, which is a measure of how our blood sugars are getting handled in diabetes. And it helped people with weight loss and inflammation, which we've learned over the years, inflammation seems to be the cause of every chronic disease there is. And they mentioned in this review too, that the plant-based diet seemed to be the only one that's been shown to reverse heart disease and diabetes, which is what we say a lot. We can cut back here, or I'm just going to eat chicken, or I'm going to, switch to non-fat this or that. But it seems that a whole food plant-based diet is the only diet that's been shown to actually reverse disease. So I thought that was just good, more ammo for why we should eat plants. So when we're talking about where's the beef, when we're thinking about planning meals, generally, whether you're plant-based or not, generally our meals are going to be a protein, some carbs, and fats, right? So we're used to the regular American USDA plate, which has protein in one corner and fruits and vegetables, and then starchy foods and dairy up here in the corner, up on the edge. So when we're planning a plant-based meal, we're doing the same thing. We're just using plant protein. It's really basically the same thing. We're just using plant proteins, and we could use plant dairy if we wanted to. But the carbs are picky. Does everybody remember the food guide pyramid? The bottom was starchy foods and carbs, and then we went our way up. And then at the top was like fats and sugars and things. And people always said, once we switched to that pyramid, everybody got sicker and heavier. And in the pyramid, they didn't really, I think if we'd actually done the pyramid, we would have been fine. I don't think any of us actually did. But bless you. But it didn't separate the type of carb. It just said carbs. So you could have had, what's like the worst white flour carb you can think of?
Bread.
Okay. white bread, donuts, yes. So we could add those and it would still count in the carbs group. So what we know now, and this is what happens as we progress, we learn more and more things. The studies show different things, that we want our carbs to be unprocessed, whole, real foods like oats and barley and millet and wheat berries and things like that, like whole foods that haven't been processed to death. Because when we process them, then we add a bunch of things to it to make it edible. And those are the things that increase our risk of disease. So we want to really focus on unprocessed carbs. So in our plate, or even in the plate by the USDA, a glazed donut wouldn't be in the carbs group. And then we want to choose healthy fats, of course. So how are we going to do that and include our protein? People, if you've been trying to follow a plant-based diet and you tell people, yeah, I'm following a plant-based diet, or yeah, I'm vegetarian, or yeah, I'm vegan, they say, how are you going to get your protein? I mean, we answer that question all the time. So what is protein? Why do we even care so much? So protein is essential. We need to have it. So they don't need to worry because there's plenty of plant proteins, but I see why they're concerned about protein because we need to have it. So it's essential for our bodies. It builds our bodies, repairs tissues and cells. So let's see, something breaks down. You stretch a muscle, so protein is needed to help repair that muscle. It makes antibodies to help us keep from getting sick. So, or those are made of proteins. Enzymes are actually proteins. Enzymes are what help our body to do all the little functions. So when you digest food, enzymes come out. These are made from protein that help you digest your food. Hormones, and we all know hormones. We know estrogen and testosterone. Those are made from protein. And also proteins carry things around. When we mentioned earlier in the previous slide, the LDL, the low density lipoprotein, we know that's the bad cholesterol, but that cholesterol is on a little protein bus and it moves around the body on the protein bus. So we need protein as carriers too. It also moves the oxygen and electrons around. And protein's important for weight loss because it helps with us to feel more full. Some things take a little longer to digest, like proteins and fats, but protein will help us to feel more full, and it helps to preserve lean muscle mass. So here you're trying to lose weight. You lose weight, but you don't want to lose muscle. You want to lose fat. So if we've got enough protein on board, then we're going to lose muscle, not the fat. So we need to have protein. Now, people will say, oh, plant proteins aren't all that great. Has anybody heard that? Yeah, people will tell you, oh, yeah, you can't have that. You got to have, meat because that's the best protein. So what makes up, I should have brought I usually have a little demonstration thing, but building blocks of protein are these things called amino acids. And animal proteins, so anything from an animal, it has all the essential amino acids. There are about 20 amino acids. 9 of them are essential, meaning our body can't make them. We have to get them from our diet. That's why people get all worried about protein. So animal proteins have all the essential amino acids, and now instead of essential, you'll hear them also called indispensable. But plant protein has all the essential amino acids too. So anybody who tells you your protein isn't good enough if you're eating plants, say no. Our plants all have the essential amino acids too. They just don't have them in as big of quantities or the right ratios necessarily. That's where the difference is. So if we're eating a variety of plant foods, we're going to get all the amino acids we need. So we do want to eat a variety of foods, not the same thing day in and day out. But that should be true of any diet, whether you're eating meat or not, right? So now, who's ever heard that you have to combine certain things at your meals to get a complete protein? Did you hear that? Yeah, that is the old way of thinking. Back that gal who wrote, what'd she write? Yeah, I can't think of her name. I don't know, but there's a book going around like in this, there's Diet for a Small Planet. Yeah. I think it was even before Del Davis. I can't think of her name. I had the book in high school. I remember reading it, and that's all we knew back then. was that you had to combine certain foods to get all your essential amino acids. Now we know way better than that. So the thing is, like here I show you beans, they're low in one of the amino acids called methionine. They don't have quite as much as say if you were eating meat. So true. But grains have plenty of methionine, but they're low in lysine. So when you have beans with grains, then you have a complete protein. Well, that's not even the right word. We always have a complete protein. It's just enough to make it enough to do its jobs. So we used to think you had to do it all at the same meal, but now you can look at things at the cellular level, and we know that when you eat food, your protein breaks up into all these little amino acids. They go into these little amino acid pools throughout your body. And when our body has to make something, like the hormone insulin, let's say, it's going to pull from those pools and make what it needs. So you don't have to have it at the same meal. And people still push this. Doctors, nurses, people haven't really kept up on it. They will tell you that, but you don't have to eat it at the same meal. But you do want to eat a variety of foods throughout the day. Plant foods are just fine. They're going to give you all the amino acids you need. So I gave you a little picture of a protein. So all the little colored balls are amino acids, and then they stick together by these things called peptide bonds. And then they have usually nitrogen at one end, and then they have this carboxyl group, it's called, a kind of chemistry name, at the other end. And they go in all these different patterns. And the pattern is what tells it what it is, whether it's insulin or estrogen or vitamin D, which is another hormone. So that's what we're making when we're making some proteins. So how much do you need? Well, generally, the rule of thumb is you need about a minimum of 0.8 grams of protein per kilogram. So you got to do the math to figure it out. Or I just switched that into per pound instead of kilograms in there. Most vegans maybe need to get a little bit more. So between 8 and 1 is generally considered pretty darn good. So you use when we're doing the calculation, you would use your current weight or your ideal body weight. If we have extra body fat on us, and who doesn't, that doesn't need extra protein. We need protein to build our tissues and our muscles and our organs. We don't really need extra. So we would use our ideal body weight. So if somebody was 300 pounds, but 200 pounds is their ideal body weight, that's how we would calculate. So in this situation, I got a 200-pound person. I multiplied it by 0.36 grams per pound. That means for every pound of body weight, we need 0.36 grams of protein. So we get 72 grams of protein a day. So that's not a whole lot. For most, the range is like 40 to 80. Ladies, we're at the smaller end. Guys, you're at the bigger end.
Question,
Yes.
how does grams translate to ounces?
Is it 30 grams to an ounce? See, I was telling her that all the things I used to know and say all the time, I totally have forgotten. So yeah, but I got that one. Thank you. About 30 grams to an ounce.
Okay.
And another way to figure it out is about 10 to 20% of the calories that you eat every day. Now, you don't have to do all this math. You just want to make sure you're getting some good food and a variety of food throughout the day. That's all. So where are we going to get it if we're eating plants? So we all know, I guess I should start with this. We all know that if we're getting animal foods, those are a good source of protein, right? And they are. I can't argue that. They are a good source of protein. But coming along with that protein are saturated fat and cholesterol and things that clog our arteries. So when we go plant foods, those don't. Those give you protein without all the nasty side effects. So we get it from, yes.
Like because they need fiber.
Oh, plus you get fiber, you're right.
It's when all else fails, they need the fiber.
We do. And that's funny that you say that, because people are always so worried in our country that what if we don't get enough protein? But nobody seems to be worried that we don't get enough fiber, which we do not. So you're right. Your plant proteins are going to come with fiber for the most part. So we start with beans. They are kind of a protein powerhouse, I feel. So 7 to 9 grams of protein in about half cup serving. So remember, we want to have between 40 and 80 a day. Some of us at the higher end, some of us at the lower end. Now you could use cooked dry beans here, or you could use canned beans. Canned beans are okay. You just need to rinse off your salt. Lentils count here too, so do soybeans, and then often they turn the soybeans into tofu or tempeh, which is fermented, or our soy curls that we cooked a couple weeks ago. Split peas are going to be a good source, and beans have the most lysine. Now that's the amino acid that is low in some plant foods. So we do love to throw some beans in every day. Now, who loves their beans? Do you get beans every day? Do you think you could? I think so. I like to have beans. I think we should be beans and greens most of the time. But how do you like the cowboy caviar? Is it okay? You know what, I added some cabbage to it to kind of increase the bulk, which is good, adds more fiber, adds vitamin C. But I should have doubled the dressing because I made it bigger but had the same dressing on it. It was, but if you don't add that, you can use it as a dip, like for chips or for crackers or something. So I do love that stuff. You could also throw other things in it. Well, we'll talk about that when I get to that slide. That'll be at the end. Nuts and seeds are actually a good source of protein, but they do come with some extra fat. So you got to watch your portions and it's a healthy fat, but calorie wise, it might be a lot more calories than we need. So 5 to 8 grams and a 1/4 cup serving. Nut butters like peanut butter, almond butter, sunflower butter, about 2 tablespoons is a serving. And then also in our seeds here, you got your flax, your hemp, your sesame, your sunflower seeds. Did I leave out any seeds? Chia seeds, I did leave one out. So those are going to be good sources of protein. Pumpkin seeds, thank you. That would be a good one. Now, grains also have protein, because sometimes we think if it's not a bean and it's not meat, we're not going to get any protein. But our grains and our vegetables all have protein too. Not quite as much. So 2 to 6 grams per serving in a grain, and a serving is about half a cup cooked. So we do want to have whole grains whenever possible. Remember, we're aiming for less processed foods. So quinoa, there's our oats. If you go the oat groat, which is like how it grew in the field, then we're going to have the highest protein for our oats. Wheat and wheat berries. Wheat berries are what comes off the wheat, the stalk of wheat that we grind up to make wheat flour. But you can just cook wheat berries as they are. I love wheat berries. Yes.
Einkorn and spelt, and I do spelt when I could get it.
Uh-huh.
And it's so much easier to digest. You don't get bloated as much.
Mm-hmm.
And einkorn now, they're starting to grow more of it.
Yes.
Well, I have found that those using those grains, it's the ancient wheat. It
Yes.
hasn't been modified as much. It's a lot easier for our bodies to use it.
Mm-hmm. Okay, that's good to know. So where do you get the einkorn?
If you go on the internet, before it was really hard, I would find where it was sold and they'd always be out,
Right.
but it's become more popular, I guess. I was.
Bless you.
I'm sorry, can't think of the name of the company, but if you look up einkorn, it'll probably give you some, it's EIN.
I've looked it up before too, and I can't think of what that company is.
Oh, that's it.
Co-op has it. Great to know.
Box.
Co-op, the co-op.
Oh,
I don't think they have it in the bins at Winco. Mm-mm.
It's in the bins, but,
Mhm.
packaging.
Okay. All right. Good to know. Thank you. And then there's wheat sprouts. So you take wheat and you sprout it. There's protein in it. Sprouting's super easy. If you haven't done it, you just get these little grains wet and then you keep them in a little jar that's got a kind of screened lid on it, and you rinse them twice a day, and they grow sprouts in like 3 or 4 days. And then all veggies have protein too, 1 to 3 grams per serving for most of the veggies, and serving is about half a cup, so not very much. Fruit isn't a real protein powerhouse, so I didn't list fruit. So my topic was supposed to be about grilling. So now let's get back to the grill. We know what our plant proteins are. So when you grill, a typical grill for you guys is what? What do you like to grill? It doesn't have to be good for you. Chicken burgers, okay.
Hot dog.
Hot dogs, sure.
Black.
Hmm? Well, when we're typically you're thinking burgers, you're thinking chicken, ribs, right? That's what we put on the grill. So if we're trying to go more plant-based, we're trying not to get those foods in us that are going to clog our arteries or increase our risk of disease. We're trying to reverse any disease we have or not get it. We could do, I guess, the most direct swap would be to try veggie burgers or veggie sausage. They're easy options. Somebody's already made them already, but they're sometimes still loaded with fat and salt, even though they come from a plant. So I think making your own is the best way to go. And then you make them and have some extras in the freezer, and then you can always pull those out. And they could not be easier to make. I'll show you in a minute. But if you do like the veggie burgers, that's okay. Does anybody have any veggie burgers they particularly like? The kind that you buy?
I got some at a sample at Costco,
Uh-huh.
and they were absolutely delicious.
Yes.
I thought they were patties, they were frozen, but I'm afraid to look at what the other ingredients are. And so I haven't bought them again, but they were really delicious.
Some can be really good. So at Costco, what they often taste there, I think, is the Morningstar Farms, the black bean burgers. People love those, and they seem to sell those a lot at Costco. So I wonder if they were those. They're pretty good. Now you can also on your grill, if you're doing thinking protein, we could do tofu, which I do all the time. You squeeze out all the liquid, so it will cook a little bit better. But you can cut into slices, you can do it in cubes, you can marinate it, you can grill it. I have found for me the best thing for tofu on my grill, I don't marinate in advance. I put the sauce on afterwards. I just haven't found that when I marinate, it's worth it. It doesn't take up the flavor, or maybe I just don't give it enough time. But I usually use the side burner and cut it into cubes and on my grill, and then I cook all the little cubes, and then I put my sauce on, little marinade. So I don't know, I like tofu. You can do tempeh, which is the fermented soy. Yes.
You freeze your tofu first. You thaw it, the water will pour out and you have a sponge that will soak up.
So you don't have to press it if you freeze it?
And press it, but it will shed the water easily.
Oh, okay, good to know. All right, so freeze it first.
To change the texture. But
Okay.
it also loads up the.
All right, okay, good to know. Because I'm always disappointed. You marinate, and then like you can hardly taste the marinade. So I do it afterwards, but I think that's a great idea. Seitan is another protein. It's called wheat meat sometimes, and it's made from the gluten. So if you're gluten intolerant, you don't want to have this one. But it's got a nice meaty texture, and you can make your own or you can buy it. Do you buy seitan or do you make it? You make it. Now, a lot of people like the portobello mushroom burgers. You'll see them a lot at a restaurant as the plant-based option. And so those are just portobello mushrooms that they usually marinated, and you throw it on the grill. Super easy. I like to do veggies on the grill all the time, however you like to do them. Veggies all the time. Pizza or flatbreads, I love. And well, I'll get to that in a minute. Jackfruit could be another thing. Jackfruit generally comes in a can, although it's a big fruit. But when you get it cut up, I usually get it in a can. I get the green jackfruit, and it's usually in a brine, and it grills very nicely too. And you could do fruit. Not a whole lot of protein, but super fun, especially the summer fruits. Yes.
Pizza dough that you spread out.
Well, I'm so glad you asked, because typically I will use my pizza pan. So you put it in there and you hold this out and then the door can close.
Yeah.
And so I'll do it that way and I'll just make my own dough.
Yeah.
But also I've been sometimes just throw the dough straight onto the grill. If it's a hot grill, yeah, you cook it for like 5 minutes, it'll start to bubble up and then you flip it over for a bit and now you've got your crust. So if you're having, no, it's kind of amazing. When I first tried it, I thought this is never going to work. But then if you're having people over, you have all your little your shells all ready to go. And then you can put your toppings on, stick it in there for 5 minutes and it's good. But yeah, I find I never use this pan anymore. But thanks for asking that. Oh, here's some barbecue ideas I need my glasses for. Let's see. Veggie skewers. You could also do some tofu or tempeh or something on the skewers. Grilled corn. Who loves to do grilled corn? I love it. I love grilled corn. You just throw that right on there. Just cooks. There's your portobello. Grilled watermelon, yummy. Grilled eggplant. There's your veggie burgers. Potatoes, always good. Grilled pineapple, which I love. And there's your little barbecue steaks or tofu steaks you could do if you like. You could also, if you're into the steaks, like the cauliflower steaks or the cabbage steaks that you cut pieces in a steak out of the middle, and you can just throw those on the grill too. And those are nice. And here's, if you're going to make your own veggie burgers, this is just loosely how you would do it. You could have like beans, some kind of a grain, and some kind of a veggie. So bless you, bless everybody. So here you could use like black or kidney beans, plus a little oatmeal, that would be your grain, maybe some brown rice already cooked, and then maybe some barbecue sauce. That makes a nice patty. This is one of my favorite patties. I like that one. Or you could try sweet potatoes and garbanzo beans with some oats and some quinoa. That one's good. You could try some grain mixture. I actually looked this one up and I haven't tried this myself, but I can't wait to try it. I love the grain mixture. They cooked some wild rice, brown rice, and quinoa together. And then they use that with some chopped mushrooms and black beans and some oats and put it in a little patty. Sometimes it's nice to freeze up, put your patties on a sheet pan, freeze them, and then they don't fall apart when you're trying to grill. Because, you know, if you've made them and you did them on the grill and then you're kind of disappointed because they just all fall apart. Now, this same combination is similar if you wanted to make sausage. You would just wrap that in a rice paper to make it into a sausage. Now, you said you made kielbasa, right?
No.
No?
That was in my sinful days.
Oh, in sinful days.
Blackfield.
Okay. Oh, okay. Sorry. Sorry I brought that up. Has anybody made their own veggie burgers? Anybody have any combinations they really love? Oh, there you go. Yep. Yeah. So it's just any combination. And you know what? I just recently made a lentil cauliflower rice kind of taco meat. And I had some left over and I thought, I bet I could just put that into a patty or even throw oatmeal or something in it to make it hold it together a little. And I bet it would make a nice patty. So, and I usually throw all this stuff into the food processor, so it makes it just a little wetter. But I think making your own veggie burgers is good. You can cook them and then freeze them, or you freeze them and then pull them out and cook them. And here's canned beans. This is our protein powerhouse, remember? So what can you do with it besides make veggie burgers out of it? So we could do a bean salad. In a couple weeks, John's going to show us how to do baked beans, right? Thank you. So our barbecue beans. You can put them on top of a salad. Add them to a pasta. Normally we think of tacos and burritos, refried beans. You could put them in a bowl. You know, a bowl would be a combination of lots of different things, and beans would be the protein source. Soups, chilies, stews. What else do you do with beans? Yes.
I make a lot of that black bean and corn salad that I bring here.
Excellent.
I love it.
Black bean and corn salad. Okay, so tell me about it. What goes in it?
Black beans,
Okay.
And actually, I get some that are Korean style or something at the dollar store
Really?
that I like.
Korean style. Oh, interesting.
And frozen corn that I just do a little bit of sauteing in
Right.
the frying pan. And then I like to use white rice vinegar
Uh-huh.
and a little bit of orange juice. And sometimes I'll put some red pepper into it because it looks pretty.
Mm-hmm. Excellent. Great combo. I like the orange juice idea. I have part of an orange at home. I think I'm gonna try that tonight. Yeah, I like that. Anybody else? Bean ideas?
Bean dip.
Yes, okay. Tell me about it.
Fried beans.
Yes. That's all right. Uh-huh. Okay, fun. Okay, I love it. So a little bean dip. I like it. I just picked some veggie burgers that I see in the stores. You know, Morningstar Farms is a popular one. Boca burgers were like the first ones out of the gate that became popular. I always like the Amy's. I love the Sunshine ones, and I like Dr. Prager's too. But now you're gonna see the Impossible burgers and the Beyond Meat burgers. And those are, I think, much more like a burger. If you're thinking about having a meat substitute of some sort, like one of these, you just can't be disappointed that it's not like a burger or not like a hot dog. But I think the Impossible and Beyonds are so much like one, I don't want to have those because they taste so much like it. I'm not sure how healthy they are. I think they're still way better than having the real thing. But they have a lot of salt and they're not low in fat. So you have to be careful. You know, a study just came out recently and I was happy to see it said these meat substitutes actually did lower people's cholesterol. And I haven't looked at the study yet, but I think it's an either or thing. Like if you ate regular burgers, of course, then when you switch to a veggie burger, your cholesterol is going to go down. And I don't know it's because of the burger or because you just aren't eating the beef. But still, I thought it was positive for our team. So I like that. Yes.
Because there are people, excuse me, who are making their cloning meat or artificial.
Yes.
To me, that sounds repulsive, but
To me too.
I'm, what other people think of that, if they know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. I don't know lots of details about it, except that I do think it sounds repulsive also. But I think they're also thinking of sustainability because the way our country eats and raise animals, we can't keep up with it with our growing population. And so they're always trying to think of ways to make it last longer. And so I think they're cloning these meats.
They use cells or something.
Yeah,
Actual cells.
lab grown cells. It's lab grown meat, right? And I've heard some people say it's good. I personally don't want any.
What about eating insects now? They're trying to grow insects in powders and then adding. That's the big thing in the future.
Insects, crickets?
Tarantulas.
Oh my gosh.
Maggots.
Oh, I mean, why can't we just eat a bean? I just don't understand it.
People, those are in other cultures, those are normal foods.
They are, and they're on their food pyramids.
Right, and so it's like, no, I don't know that I'm gonna jump there, but I'm not gonna, it could be that I will be surprised someday when somebody sets something in front of me and says, this is whatever, all right, so,
Oh, I like that crunch.
If we, what would I be eating? And it would be, well, it's fruit fly alarm.
Yeah.
It's so fun when it bursts in my mouth.
Oh my gosh. It sounds like such a picnic day sort of thing. You know, in Davis, I remember eating the mealworms or something on picnic day. I don't know. I think we're trying to be so desperate that we'll eat a bug instead of eating beans.
I eat the other ones like deer.
An ant on a deer. Okay.
Didn't taste good.
Angelina Jolie and her family had a program where they grilled tarantulas and ate them right there. on
That
it.
seems like torture. I mean, I don't really love the tarantula, but, oh,
Starting to do, you have to eat what you have to eat.
that's right. We don't,
But we're not-
That's different, I think, making a choice.
I know.
No, but also it can actually hurt kind of the movement towards healthier foods.
Yes,
In the way that if people are told that like being sustainable and being healthy means eating bugs, people are just gonna give up on the idea. Many people are gonna turn away.
that's
If
true.
I'm buying a veggie burger, how do I know it doesn't have bugs in it?
Ugh.
'cause that's the plan, is to put these insects in it.
Well, we better read our labels very carefully.
But
We're luckily we have good labeling here.
many people don't.
They
If they associate bugs with eating healthy,
Yeah.
they're gonna
say, forget it.
Yeah.
I would. Oh. Okay, well, thank you guys for sharing that disgusting topic. There's also foil packet grilling. This is a big thing you do like when you go camping, I think. But I think this is also fun out on the grill sometimes, especially because my husband does eat meat and I don't. We have these separate sides of the grill. So sometimes if I need to use his side, I could do it on the foil and it would be okay. But you choose your veggies and stick them in your foil. You choose your protein, beans or tofu or tempeh, wrap it all up and put it on the grill for about 25 minutes. Or totally Boy Scout thing. Yeah. Yes. And then you open it up, it's all cooked and you serve it over rice. Or I've done it when we've gone camping and I've had everything in the foil all ready to go. And then when you get to your campsite and you have a fire going, you throw it in with coals. But I think this is kind of a fun thing. Then when you have a barbecue, you decide if you want to grill any of those protein foods, but also a big part of a barbecue are the side dishes. So we could have our beans, our baked beans, our 3-bean salad, our cowboy caviar. So that's what we had today, which is black-eyed peas and black beans and corn, and you throw a little pepper in it. And what I did today was volumize it a little. I didn't get broccoli slaw because I couldn't find any. I just used a little bag of cabbage. And so that volumizing means you kind of decrease the calories a little bit by adding even more vegetables. And we have that recipe in our cookbook here. You could do with dips on the side. So I like your bean dip. We could do hummus, which is just beans and tahini. You could do veggies like corn or grilled avocado are actually really fun. You can mix your veggies and potatoes. If you're doing potatoes, I feel like it's a good idea to microwave them a little first because otherwise they take a long time. But these would all be side dishes to our barbecue. And then there's fun things that aren't necessarily protein powerhouses. So we could do fruit. So I love pineapple on the grill. Has anybody done that? You could do the rings or you could cut it in wedges if you have a fresh pineapple. Peaches, nectarines, plums, all the summer fruits are great grilled. Watermelon, you could do fruit kebabs. There's a little banana there too, I see. Of course, you could do s'mores. I do a plant-based s'more where I do plant-based marshmallows and a little graham cracker, a little dark chocolate with no dairy in it. You do your portobello mushrooms. They're just not a real protein powerhouse, but they're very good for burgers. You could do a quesadilla. Oh, I didn't bring my quesadilla pan. Oh, I have I'm into the gadgets entirely. So I have a pan like this, but it's got a top rack and a bottom. And then you can put your quesadilla in it and you stick it in there and it doesn't fall apart. And then you just flip the whole thing. So I do love that. It's a good gadget. But instead of cheese, maybe use your hummus or use your bean dip. Spread it on there with a bunch of veggies and now you got a quesadilla and that's excellent. You can put that straight on the grill too. Fold it in half. Use one of those big tortillas, fold it over. And then when we were making, I don't know, a while ago, we made those little sandwiches, those around the clock ones, where it's a huge tortilla and you cut it, a quarter of it. So in one quarter you put something, on one quarter you put something, and then you fold it all up. And Linda suggested she thought peanut butter or chocolate or bananas would be good on it. And you could do the very same thing here. You can make a little dessert quesadilla with some peanut butter, with some bananas, a few chocolate chips, fold it and grill it. Always a big hit. But I think you need a few tools. So you need your grill. You need some good tongs. You need a spatula of some sort. You need some oven mitts. But I love, and what I use so many times a week is my barbecue wok. So it's just a little basket and I throw all my veggies in there and throw it on the grill. So it's on this side while my husband's meat or whatever is over here. And it's awesome. So I really highly recommend the barbecue wok. You could also do a barbecue like a flat grill. Oh, I see this one has little something on it. So you can tell they're well used. So this is just nice if you want to like lay your zucchini out in big pieces. So I tend to use the wok more than anything. Or my pizza grill pan, although now I just throw it straight under the grill. Quesadilla pan, you know, you could use some foil, especially if we're gonna do the little foil packets. But look at that great grilled corn. So excellent. So talking about protein, just the bottom line on protein, it's easy to get plenty of plant-based protein. We don't have, no matter what people tell you, you don't need to eat beef or chicken or fish if you don't want to. If you want to, and that's your choice, that's totally fine. But you don't have to. So, but we want whole real foods, get a variety of plant foods throughout the day, and you're going to have plenty of those little amino acids to build all your things that protein does. So aim for 3 or 4 servings of protein food a day. Like a serving is just half a cup of beans. I don't know, when I have beans, I usually have a whole cup. So that would be 2. Half cup of tofu or tempeh, or maybe a quarter cup of nuts, a cup of soy milk, a couple tablespoons of peanut butter. We just want to get several of those during the day. I feel like when I sit down to a meal, I want to make sure there's a little protein something in there. And it might be just peanut butter on my oatmeal in the morning or soy milk with it. Beans on top of my salad at lunch, tofu at dinner. And barbecue, bottom line, you could use the veggie meats, but making your own is going to definitely be the healthiest. And then add your healthy sides. And this is a great thing when you're going to barbecues this summer or you're having people over, just make a bunch of healthy sides. And if you're going to a barbecue, you can just take what you want, then you know you can eat that and you don't necessarily have to eat what everybody else has. And maybe some grilled fruit for dessert if you're not going for the s'more, of course. So what are you going to grill this week? Look at these beautiful veggies. Don't those look great? And you know what? I had some people over a while ago and I just did a bunch of veggies the night before. And then we just made sandwiches. So they could put, some people had meat, some people had cheese, some people just had the veggies with some hummus. So today I did the carrot dogs and the cowboy caviar. Oh, I guess I didn't put my menu up there. So the carrot dogs, nothing like a hot dog, I know, but it's kind of fun. You boil them for about 10 minutes and then you marinate them overnight or at least 4 hours. So what'd you think about the carrot dog? Was it all right? You know, I've never had the nerve to make them for other people. I've made them for me, but I thought people will just make fun of this. So do you think it would be okay if you had people over? Would you make a carrot dog? You would? Oh, good. Okay. Good. Wouldn't call him a dog. If you had a grill, you would?
Yeah. They're a griddle
Uh-huh.
does not give the same heat reaction, smoke reaction that you would get.
Okay, so John brings up a good point. So I didn't do them on a grill. I did them on our panini press, or grill press, or griddle. And because you've got the hot dogs a little bigger on one end than the other, it doesn't even lay down all the way to cover the whole thing. So I think they are better on an actual grill. You're right. And then cowboy caviar, that's just the beans, could be just a salad, it could be a dip. Volumize it if you want to with some extra things. And then this was just an idea I saw. It was grilled burritos. So you basically made burritos. You had your tortilla, you put some beans in it, you put some avocado or veggies or whatever you like, fold it up, and then you stick it on the grill. I thought that sounded really fun. So there's lots of things we can do. I know it's hot out, but when it's hot out, sometimes we don't want to heat the house up. So you go outside and do it on the grill. But I encourage you to try some new things or grill anything. I don't know, we grill year round at our house. What about you? Grilling? Anybody grilling? I love grilling. But think about those side dishes too, because those are gonna be good to bring with you when you're going somewhere or if you have somebody over. What's your favorite side dish for barbecue?
German things. So
Potato salad. Oh, so I was thinking at our next little demo, so John's gonna do the barbecue, beans and baked beans. I was gonna do like potato salad several ways. Okay. Would that be okay? All right. I don't think it's gonna be German though. There was a dill, there was one with hummus,
yeah.
and I can't remember what the other one was. They sounded interesting. Okay, so potato salad's popular.
I have to go, but
Okay.
before I sat down, I think you asked what people were doing to stay cool.
Yes,
Last year, I got what was called a cool rag at Amy Hardware.
uh-huh.
And I can't find it, so I'm just using a towel today, but of course you just wet it with cold water. When it starts to warm up, all you have to do is take it off and, you know, scrunch it around a little bit and it cools.
And it makes it cold.
Yeah. So it made all the difference in the world. I have to go get another. one.
Oh, that's great. Okay, so you have a little cold
I have-
wrap.
Yes.
Do you have to snap it?
Yes.
I got mine at.
Okay. All right, good to know. Easier trip for me too.
So good way to stay cool and stay hydrated too. Make sure everybody's drinking plenty. Okay, all right. Thank you. Thanks, everybody. Have a happy 4th.